Hello everybody, my name is Davis and welcome back to the video, and today we're here for another severe weather breakdown. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Starting off with the SPC outlook for today, where we have a marginal risk of severe weather in southwestern Michigan. So let's go ahead and break down the threats that this brings. Now starting off with the tornado threat for today, very low, no tornadoes expected. Damaging wind threat, we have a 5% risk of damaging wind gusts of 60 miles an hour or higher. That is going to include Grand Rapids, Michigan, so look out in that region tonight. Hail threat, we do not have a hail threat for today. Now moving on to tomorrow, we do not have any marginal risks of severe weather. And moving on to Sunday, we do not have any marginal risks of severe weather. So let's go ahead and move on to the National Hurricane Center here. Well, we have post-tropical cyclone Philippe, but we're going to break that down more later. And then we have a disturbance here. There's a 50% chance to form in the next 7 days and a 10% chance to form in the next 48 hours that we really need to be watching because it's a wave off the coast of Africa. And everybody knows that whenever there's a wave off the coast of Africa, it's usually heading in the United States direction. That doesn't mean it's going to hit the United States, but it means that it could. It definitely could. Eastern Pacific, we have Tropical Storm Lydia, but we're going to break that down more later. And then we have a disturbance that has an 80% chance to form the next 48 hours, an 80% chance to form the next 7 days, and a 60% chance to form the next 48 hours. And this is most likely going to head out into sea and not affect anybody. Now, Central Pacific here, we do not have any disturbances, so we're good to go there. Moving on to the paths for Lydia and Philippe. We'll start off with Lydia here. Lydia is currently a 70-mile-per-hour storm here, and very soon, by the end of today anyway, we're going to have a Category 1 hurricane out of this that will continue to head to the west, then take a turn north, and then take a shocking turn east here, where we could see a 65-mile-per-hour storm here affect portions of west central Mexico. Okay, so look out if you're in this region. You have a tropical storm that's coming for you, and it's going to be here around October 11th, so definitely look out next week for a potential tropical storm impact. And then we have Tropical Storm Philippe here, or now Post-Tropical Cyclone Philippe, that's by the end of the day is going to start to have some effects on Bermuda. It's a 50-mile-per-hour storm, and Bermuda is right in the middle of this cone of uncertainty. So Bermuda, you're honestly probably going to see the worst part of this storm here. So look out if you're in that region today and tomorrow, okay? That is not going to be a situation you're going to want to be in, but it's one that you're going to have to deal with. So look out for that. This will continue to head to north-northwest, and then eventually most likely make landfall somewhere in western Nova Scotia, western New Brunswick, or eastern Maine here as a 50-mile-per-hour storm here at around 8 a.m. on October 8th. So October 7th, October 8th, October 9th, this whole area here needs to be on high alert, okay? This is not going to be a storm that you're going to want to mess around with. It's going to be about as strong as it's going to be when it impacts Bermuda here. I'm imagining that tomorrow we'll probably see some tropical storm watches get in effect, maybe some storm surge watches, as we could see some storm surge out of this, some flooding rain, some strong gusty winds, maybe meeting severe limits potentially. So definitely look out, especially if you're in the cone of uncertainty here, but even if you're not in this whole area, you need to be looking out. This will continue to head northwest here into Quebec, and then eventually end its lifetime as a 40-mile-per-hour storm here in portions of southeastern Quebec. So let's go and move on to the Climate Prediction Center here. 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. We have an area that's going to see above average precipitation most likely here in the northwest. That's going to be a 70 to 80% chance to see above average temperatures in the pink there that extends over portions of Montana, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. So look out for that. Those summer heat temperatures are going to return in that region. But for the central U.S. here, we've got a little cool block sitting here right now in south central Kansas, okay? Now in the darkest shade of blue there in south central Kansas, that's going to be a 50 to 60% chance to see below average temperatures. So look out for that, okay? We're really going to see those fall colors start to pop out here, those fall temps coming in, stuff like that, which we're actually going to talk about more later with the watches, warnings, and advisories. So let's go ahead and move on to the 8 to 14 day outlooks here, where the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, that's going to be for October 14th to the 20th, is even more interesting. So our heat dome is still sitting here in the interior northwest at this point. This will be, once again, the pink's going to be a 70 to 80% chance to see above average temperatures, so that summer heat's going to be staying there for a little while longer. And then down here in the southeast is where our cool dome is going to be, and it really starts to ramp up and expand here. In the darkest shade of blue, that's going to be a 60 to 70% chance to see below average temperatures. So definitely look out for that. Those fall colors, once again, are going to start to pop. We're going to see some nice, cool fall temperatures, that crisp fall air. So yeah, look out for that 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook. We have a massive chunk of the central U.S. here that's going to see below average precipitation, most likely, that extends from the deep south, the Four Corner states, the Great Plains, the Midwest, the Northwest. Okay, this entire area here in the darkest shade of brown, that's going to be a 40 to 50% chance to see below average precipitation from the 14th to the 20th. So look out for that. Most of the country is going to be included in at least the light brown shade, which is still a 33 to 40% chance to see below average precipitation. So look out for that, okay? We're going to have a very dry start to the fall here in the central United States. Watches, warnings, and advisories. Our freeze dome here. I don't know what to call this. Maybe I don't know. I was gonna try to think of something funny to call it, but I couldn't. If I'm being honest with you, so we're just gonna call this our temperature block, and we have so many freeze warnings, freeze watches, frost advisories, also some wind advisories under this here in the Great Plains, the Northwest, portions of the Four Corner states, and even going into the western Midwest at this point, entering into all the way into portions of like south central Missouri here. Okay, this will continue to head southeast here. So a lot of areas like southern Illinois, western Kentucky, western Tennessee, northern Arkansas, more portions of northeast Oklahoma, you can expect these frost advisories, freeze warnings, and freeze watches to expand into your region. Speaking of the deep south here, for portions of central and southern Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, there's going to be a red flag warning, so don't be burning anything for sure if you're in those regions. And then we have heat advisories in effect here for a good portion of the west coast here and south and central California. We could see heat index values up to 100 degrees or higher, which is pretty funny because only a few hundred miles away we have frost starting to form. But yeah, that's pretty, other than that, it's pretty calm right now. So if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.